In the headlines, 2 months before the 2019 hurricane season opens, the ODM is busy with community outreach programs. Vendors warned they must comply with a standard of biodegradable food packaging material demanded by government. And specialized care to be revitalized when local experts take up duties at the new National Hospital. I am Andrea Louis with the Channel 5 News. Back with the details after this.
Imagine you have Hollywood at your command. Introducing Flow Evil.
Red cheese, gold rings, all black, everything creeping through the night.
Anywhere you are.
Big girls don't scream hard like Halloween, make me feel alive.
There's a world of entertainment here, and you run the show. Flow Evil.
Here are some tips to reduce mosquito presence in and around your home. Keep water storage containers properly covered. Remove containers that can collect water from your surroundings. Keep garbage bins tightly covered. Pick up your litter and remove all tires from your yard. Keep gutters free of leaves and twigs to prevent stagnant water. Prevent Zika, dengue, and chikungunya. Fight the bite. This is a public service announcement from the Dominica Red Cross.
This message is supported by Flow.
Thank you for staying with us. First up, the Office of Disaster Management, ODM, has begun its community outreach programs with the 2019 hurricane season less than 2 months away. Project Officer with the ODM, Donaldson Frederick, says the office has held meetings in several communities around the country thus far.
Well, right now we are 2 months away from the hurricane season, and the Office of Disaster Management is actively involved in doing community outreach. We are out there in the communities. We've done 7 communities already in terms of planning with the village councils, and we've done 5 communities with preparedness meetings with the community itself, having all the members of the community come out to a particular location, and we sit and discuss the hazards, preparedness tips, and so on, and that is assisted or coordinated with IOM as well, the International Organization for Migration, providing some support in that area as well.
Frederick says the turnout to the meetings has been impressive, and the focus during these sessions is not only on preparedness for hurricanes.
So we are basically championing the cause in terms of preparedness, and we're looking at comprehensive disaster management, where we look at all the hazards with all the people and in all phases of the disaster cycle. So that is the approach going forward, because we want our communities to be prepared, and if our communities are prepared, it means that our country is better prepared. Well, I think because of the past experiences, the turnout has been great. A number of persons, whenever they hear the announcements on the radio, they make it their duty and their responsibility to come and listen to what the officials have to say in terms of preparedness and awareness.
Frederick says the plan is to meet with all the communities to help spread the preparedness plan and the trainings needed for the 2019 hurricane season. In other top stories, a stern warning issued to vendors to comply with the standard of biodegradable food packaging material agreed upon for use in the country. Julian Morris has that story.
The word of caution comes from General Manager of the Dominica Solid Waste Management Corporation, Florian Mitchell, as the country is now into the 4th month of the phase-out of styrofoam and single-use plastic food packaging material. In last year's budget address, Prime Minister Skerrit announced that as of the 1st of January 2019, Dominica would ban the use of styrofoam and single-use plastic food packaging material. The Ministry of the Environment later that year informed the public that a 6-month phase-out period will run from January to June 2019, where the duty on biodegradable food packaging material would be waived to accommodate the country's move to go green. General Manager of the Solid Waste Management Corporation says the issue of cost has come up during talks with vendors, but warned that anything imported below the agreed-upon standard would not be allowed into the country.
If they bring anything that is below, it will not be allowed to enter because we sat with them and set the standards. So it's not something that was done between the Ministry of Environment and the Bureau of Standards and Customs. We got all the major stakeholders involved in the process, because the process is to serve them. The process is to allow them to bring the alternative material in, and not as a measure of deterrent, is to allow them to bring. So that is what we had the stakeholders consultation, and they themselves agreed upon that recommendation.
Mitchell also informed those who plan to become importers of the biodegradable packaging food items that there is a process to follow to keep in line with the country's vision.
If you're an importer, it would mean that you need to contact the Dominica Bureau of Standards, where you would have to produce some form of documentation that your product meets a certain standard that is already set by the Dominica Bureau of Standards. So it's not just you just saying you're importing, but your importation, the material you're importing, it needs to meet a particular standard that is already set. And that standard that was set, it was done again with the involvement of the stakeholders, that the major importers. They were the ones who sat down as part of our stakeholders consultation, and we came to a threshold. We said, okay, we're going to start this at this benchmark, 50%. In 2019, 2020, the benchmark is going to go to 70, 80, 90 until we get to 100% compostable material being imported.
Mitchell pointed out that the country going green through the use of biodegradable food packaging materials can open up avenues for alternative food packaging material to be created in Dominica.
But in terms of using bamboo and banana leaf, I think a few individuals are looking at experimenting using banana leaf for plates and stuff like that. So there is definitely a market. Again, those things was highlighted as part of our stakeholders meeting, and how could small business assist an individual who have a nice project idea. Again, CRID made mention of those when we had our stakeholders consultation when we met with CRID, and that was one of the things that they highlighted, that since there is that swing, it would mean that you would need to create locally an avenue where somebody or people could be entrepreneurs, could manufacture those stuff, so you could buy the products right here locally. But that is basically next steps and should be in the pipeline.
On to health matters. The Dominica Nurses Association has raised a concern about the welfare of staff at the acute psychiatric unit. In its open letter to the Minister for Health last month, the DNA pointed to staff and patients of the APU not relocated to a safe environment. The DNA questioned why APU staff were forced to inhale construction dust and face other construction risks during renovation of the unit since September 2017. During a recent news conference, Matron Vania Bruni-Loblack acknowledged the APU staff had remained committed to the task in spite of the challenges faced on the job.
I really want to express deep appreciation to all my staff for their dedication and commitment, but more so the staff of the acute psychiatric unit. As we all know, there is construction going on now at the APU, while the nurses continue to administer care and to continue to give the service at the APU. In spite of their challenges, the nurses continue to report to work, to come to work on time, and to do their very best. And the Ministry of Health, I'm sure, appreciates that. I was very happy when we met with them a few days ago. Was it Wednesday? The Minister of Health and the Permanent Secretary and CMO, we met with the staff at APU, and I must say that the meeting went very well. But more importantly, the outcome was good. And so we were able to reach a resolution to the problem. And I am very happy for that, Minister and PS and CMO. So in closing, I just want again to say thank you to all my staff at the hospital and to encourage all of us to continue to do our best in spite of the challenges that we have. There are challenges everywhere. The teaching service has its challenges, the policemen have its challenges, but how do you deal with the challenges? That is the big question. You know, whatever we do, let us be professional. Okay, remember always that we are a professional body, and let us behave professionally.
You are watching the Channel 5 News. Stay tuned for more after the break.
If you're HIV positive or have an STI, having unprotected sex with multiple partners puts them in grave danger. You'll expose every partner and their present and future partners to HIV or another STI. Use a condom every time you have sex. You can live a productive life even if diagnosed with HIV. Remember, early detection is key to your survival. Be responsible, protect yourself and others. Help stop the spread of HIV and other STIs.
Welcome back. The new National Hospital is expected to offer specialist care in a number of areas, including cardiology and ophthalmology. Acting Chief Medical Officer Dr. Adrian Deschusset says both retired ENT specialist Dr. Irvin Pascal and ophthalmologist Dr. Hazel Shillingford-Ricketts will be re-engaged.
Those areas that I am referring to would be in the area, for example, of cardiology. We haven't had a sitting cardiologist in Dominica for quite some time, and there is somebody being trained, and we'll be returning in 2000, if my eyesight permit me, in 2019. That's the year. This year, that is, right? We'll have a cardiologist. I was asked not to put that particular person on the spot, so I have to refrain from mentioning the names of the respective doctors that are being trained in the respective areas of interest. ENT specialists. We know that we have our good gentleman and esteemed colleague has recently retired, and there is need for persons in that particular area. So there is somebody being trained in that area, and it's not to sideline our good and esteemed colleague either, but there's always an opportunity for engagement as well, and that is being discussed at the core managers in the Ministry of Health, so that the gentleman can also be engaged. Good. In the area of ophthalmology, so the same will have to be said in that area as well. There is a person who is being trained and will be completing their training in the near not so distant future, and will return and lend their services, because we have lost quite a number of persons who are highly trained, and we need their service nonetheless. And of course, this is a household name, Dr. Shillingford, and she also, if I may take the opportunity, Mr. Minister and Madam PS, to alert the wider public that there are plans also to re-engage the gentle lady, as I often refer to her, my esteemed colleague, Dr. Shillingford, as well.
The Chief Medical Officer says the Ministry of Health is ensuring that there is continuity in the provision of specialist care as the commissioning of the new hospital draws nearer.
The wider public ought to know that no longer you must feel that you need to travel overseas to access those services, because they are going to be provided locally, and you will have the opportunity to access services here in the Commonwealth of Dominica. Just to enumerate some of those areas, besides cardiology, I mentioned the intensive care specialist position, the area of gynecology and obstetric. There are persons being trained in that area. A nephrologist who has also returned and awaiting engagement is another area of expertise that we haven't had. I don't think we have ever had such a person trained in that area. And we have a nephrologist who has completed their training and is back on island and ready to commence service. In the area of endocrinology, in the area of hematology, in the area of pathology, all of these areas are areas that, and these are homegrown persons, these are not imported services, these are persons who are Dominicans.
On to cultural developments. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism and Culture has assured Dominicans that the upgrade works on the country's two main cultural facilities will see an enhanced delivery of Dominica's cultural expressions. Here again is Julian Morris.
Over $1 million has been invested in refurbishing the Arawak House of Culture and the Old Mill Cultural Center. The ministry is serious about pursuing methods of displaying the country's culture, and upgraded facilities will help in this regard.
Currently, the Ministry of Tourism and Culture is investing over $900,000 in the renovation of the Arawak House of Culture. We expect to see at the end of this renovation that we'll have a brand new center that will be able to host these types of events. I know Mr. Lawrence is looking forward to that time. Additionally, and we don't just want the Arawak to be back as it was before Hurricane Maria. We are investing numerous resources into the rehabilitation, into sound. We'll have new sound, new lighting, a new decor, new ambience that will really showcase the cultural aspect of Dominica.
Prevo also gave an update on the renovation works at the Old Mill Cultural Center, which is linked to boosting the country's heritage tourism offerings.
We are currently constructing a permanent stage, which will also reflect our talent and our art in Dominica. We also plan to just upgrade the standard of the Old Mill as not just a cultural center, but a heritage tourism site. And we are investing over $500,000 in this project.
Meantime, a record number of participants have been registered in the programs being offered by the Dominica Art Institute.
The Dominica Institute for the Arts, or DIFA, has provided for training for hundreds of young Dominicans through its 7 years of existence. This year, we are offering about 12 courses in the arts of the Old Mill, including choir, guitar, steel pan, dance, art, keyboard, and drumming. And this year, we have recorded our highest number of students ever, which is 187 students. We thank God for this wonderful achievement.
Lawrence says the Cultural Division has continued its programs in the out districts to boost cultural aspects around the country. New cultural centers are expected to greatly assist the growing number of culturally and artistically inclined youth around the island.
In addition to DIFA, the Cultural Division continues its training program in the arts across the country. We continue to train in areas such as jingping, steel pan, traditional and creative dance, drumming, theater, and art and craft, among others. So the challenge we now have is to build on the foundations of our artistic and cultural development in Dominica. We have to provide even more opportunities for training and to provide performance spaces like the Arawak and the Old Mill so that our artists can perform and showcase their skills and have the opportunity to grow and develop.
Renovation work on the Old Mill Cultural Center and Arawak House of Culture began earlier this year. The completion date is May 2019.
And host of the radio program Non-Stop Praises is organizing a major event for April 19th, Good Friday. Heston Charles has been involved in radio ministry for the last 15 years and says he feels called to offer his listeners an opportunity to explore ministry on a much deeper level. Over the years, many of Charles's listeners have called in for prayer, and he says they've been blessed and comforted. But he says he feels a call to take it higher in an effort to meet what he believes are some serious spiritual needs.
All around Dominica, I'm amazed. I meet people every day say, boy, I listen to you, and because of that, I'm having a better day. Actually, a lady called me and said, listen, I was in a traffic jam, and I was having road rage, and because I listened to you, I was able to calm down. And so I recognize what God has been doing through me, in me, and hence, God gave me the idea to have a platform to bring all these people under one umbrella, bring them in one building, and have them experience a deliverance, have them experience breakthrough, have them experience victory. My ultimate role in this event is to connect people to the fixer, the one who can fix, the Jesus who can fix. And so this event is planned around that. That's the platform, that's the bottom line of this event. Bringing these people, There's so many people out there who have needs. And post-marriage, you would know. I still believe there's some people who need somebody to talk to. Because some of them never had an insurance and they lost their house and they're wondering where they're going to get the money to rebuild. Some of them, they're not sure. They're probably empty or their account to rebuild. So some people dealing with oppression, Julian. Some people dealing with spiritual oppression. Some people dealing with societal because they come from a family that has a stigma. You know when you come from a family that has a stigma and people look down on you? These things that affect people and they live under a curse for their whole life because their father was that, their mother was that. And societal stigma is like a curse. It holds people down. And hence, this event, these people will come and they will receive a perpetual change. It's not a one-time. You know, sometimes people go to an event and they say it was nice, but when they go back home, they still feel the same way. But this event is different. This event is not outside in, it's inside out. So the change that will happen is inside out. So the event is under the title Shana. That's the title. Shana is the Hebrew word for change. I mean, you hear a lot about change in Dominica, but this change came from God. There is spiritual wickedness in high places. There's spiritual darkness in high places. And there are people who have found themselves trapped like a hostage. You know what it is to be a hostage? They are trapped in this like a hostage, and they have been there all their life, and they just cannot get out. This event is going to create a window for these people to get out of that cage that they have been in.
A number of local pastors are expected to minister at that event.
It's going to be a spirit-filled event. When people come at the event, they'll be getting an attendance card where they will fill in on that card what sort of ministry they feel their life need. You know what your life need. So if you know your life need deliverance, you tick that. If you know your life need, Julian, probably you need a victory. Right? You probably Fred might need a breakthrough, a financial breakthrough. Fred looks like a man that don't mind that, a financial breakthrough. Somebody else might need deliverance. So you tick that on the card.
This card will later help guide the ministers as they minister to the individuals in attendance. Charles believes in order for one to live a happy life, one must experience deliverance, breakthrough, and victory. The event starts at 7 p.m. at the PSU building.
Imagine you have Hollywood at your command. Introducing Flow Evil.
Red cheese, gold rings, all black, everything creeping through the night.
Anywhere you are.
Big girls don't scream hard like Halloween, make me feel alive.
There's a world of entertainment here, and you run the show. Flow Evil.
Here are some tips to reduce mosquito presence in and around your home. Keep water storage containers properly covered. Remove containers that can collect water from your surroundings. Keep garbage bins tightly covered. Pick up your litter and remove all tires from your yard. Keep gutters free of leaves and twigs to prevent stagnant water. Prevent Zika, dengue, and chikungunya. Fight the bite. This is a public service announcement from the Dominica Red Cross.
This message is supported by Flow.
To end the news, the headlines again. 2 months before the 2019 hurricane season opens, the ODM is busy with community outreach programs. Vendors warned they must comply with the standard of biodegradable food packaging material demanded by government, and specialized care to be revitalized when local experts take up duties at the new National Hospital. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. You can also access or pause the newscast on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Andrea Louis, and to all of our viewers around the world, thank you so much for watching. Join us next time.